Good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to High Top Sports Oregon. We are back. We are ecstatic. We are celebrating because we have got a commit. And let's go ahead and bring in Derek the Duck to see who we got. How you doing, bud?
Hey, good man. It's always exciting when we're able to jump on here after a commitment. I know we're kind of hoping that things get rolling on the recruiting trail, and there's a pretty good chance that this is where it gets the ball rolling. So yeah, just excited to be here and talk a little Cooper Perry.
Yeah, for sure. So before we get into the young man, recruiting is starting to heat up. I mean, USC seems to get one every single day, it seems like. Not sure if all of them are going to stick like we talked about in the previous show, but man, it's like every day they're getting somebody. But it's good to see other than USC commit because it seems like it's been just all USC lately, and a lot of top 25s and stuff like that. But Cooper decides to go with the Ducks, and that's very exciting for Duck fans. What are we getting with the young man?
Yeah, absolutely. So Cooper Perry, he's a pretty exciting young player. The number one player out of the state of Arizona. Lining up at about 6'1". I think last listing was about 190 pounds. So a pretty moderately sized guy there. But what we are getting is someone who is extremely good catching in traffic. That's kind of what he's known for in the state of Arizona. He's one of the best receivers in the nation, notoriously 4 yards after the catch, which is pretty exciting stuff. Cooper is not someone necessarily who's an all-world, track speed athlete who's going to take the top off the defense every play. But what he does do is he kind of brings that intermediate and short pass game and is able to extend the offense with what he's able to do after he gets the ball in his hands. So likewise, I was just reading a little bit from some of the 24/7 guys, and they were mentioning how Coops he's going to be a prime candidate to be like a punt returner at the next level, for example, just based off what he's able to do and find the open spaces once he has the ball in his hands. So it's always nice to bring someone in like that. And definitely someone who is, excelled in a pretty tough, league down there in Arizona and Scottsdale at Notre Dame Prep. Just last year alone, just under 1,200 yards, 20 total touchdowns. I think he had dang near, 200 yards rushing on top of it. So someone who brings a little versatility to the offense, which, seems to be a pretty common theme with what we talk about with, some of these Oregon players. They're able to, step into a multitude of roles and be successful there. But yeah, like I said, Coops, he's just someone who's he's a grinder, notorious for getting the ball in his hands and just being Mr. Consistent with the ball there. So we're pretty excited to land the commitment of him. I know it's someone who us at High Top we've been talking about for a couple months now, who we kind of projected to land with the Ducks, and the days finally come where he gives us that verbal. So we're just kind of hoping this kid is able to stick until early signing day in December.
Yeah, and as I'm watching his film, he kind of reminds me of a um, Luke McCaffrey. I've been watching some doing some draft stuff for our draft spectacular on Thursday the 24th, and he really reminds me of what Luke did at Rice this year. Same build, same frame. He's pretty slick off the line here, and he's just a versatile guy, which they used Luke at Rice. That way, he was a quarterback. Then he popped out to wide receiver, had pretty productive year. Obviously not like what Christian did at Stanford, but he's holding his own, and that's kind of when I watch him in his routes. That's kind of what he looks like. His running style's the same. Big yards after catch guy after after contact. Kind of a yak guy. Probably going to play in the slot at the next level, I would guess. But you could do the bubble screens and flare passes to him. Here he is hitting the brakes and making a terrific catch. That is a very hard catch. Um, there on the sideline there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit it right on the head. It's going to be more like that slot role is kind of what I'm envisioning as well. Once he actually gets to Oregon, barring he sticks with his commitment and sees this through, he's just one of those like super reliable guys, which is kind of something we're looking for and something that it's one of those traits you absolutely want to have in one of your early commits. Definitely, we just lost a wide receiver commit as of the last 2 weeks here, so it's kind of nice to kind of reacclimate and fill that role again. But yeah, I kind of like your comparison to Luke McCaffrey there. I think just what he's able to do on the field and the way he's able to find the space once he has the ball in his hands. He navigates traffic extremely well, which is a trait you're very well versed in with Luke there. But yeah, like you said, that's kind of the comparison that I could get as well. But definitely excited to see what he's able to do here with his senior year. I kind of expect him to rise up in the ranks a little bit, just being the number one player out of the state. Arizona's, not necessarily a hotbed for super high recruits consistently, but they typically, whoever's ranked in that top, 2 and 3 spots in the state, you typically see them rise a little bit come the fall updated rankings. So I'm going to guess we see him rise a little more toward the top 200 nationally, but we'll see what he's able to do with his senior season as well.
Yeah, kind of his route running style too is he runs like Luke, but his route running style is more like very very early um Adam Thielen. It really reminds me of that. And listen, you can't just have four burners. You gotta have a slot guy, you gotta have an outside guy, you gotta have a possession guy for offense really to work. In which Oregon kind of had that this past year. And they're losing, they're gonna lose some guys to the draft coming up. And then obviously next year they're gonna lose a couple guys to the draft. So you're wanting to constantly replace those guys. But yeah, he does remind me of a little bit more versatile Adam Thielen, and you can make a long, long career off that as long as you put the hard work in and he really perfects those routes.
Yeah, and I think this is someone who fits extremely well in an Oregon offense as well, right? So, the Oregon offense, especially as of the last 2 years, what we see is they like to get the ball in their hands of their playmakers early for the most part, and then they're able to extend the field and kind of take the top off the defense when you suck those safeties in a little bit. And I think he's kind of that guy who fits that role extremely well. He fits the mold of that offense they like to run, where you're seeing a lot of these routes that are being run between 5 and 10 yards in depth, and that's kind of Cooper Perry's strong suit there. That's something that we've seen consistently throughout his young career so far. And I kind of expect that's more or less the role he's going to end up stepping into once he gets on campus. Like I said, barring he sticks out this commitment, but I think he's someone who fits the mold of a Will Stein offense extremely well. Someone who could be a high value piece. And, like I said, just the reliability we have within his hands and some of his, sharper routes able to navigate through traffic is going to pay dividends at the next level.
For sure. Super excited to get the young man. Obviously, hopefully this is the start to get the Oregon class rolling. And we'll be doing a lot more of these videos when these young men decide to commit. Um, man, I think he's gonna be a good one for you. I think he's gonna be a special team ace, like you said, a punt returner. I'm not sure if he's gonna, set the world on fire comes, early spring next year or the first couple games of the season. But I think he's definitely going to be pivotal in the special teams, and I think, like you said, he could be a heck of a punt returner, which you got to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, a name Oregon fans are pretty familiar with is Jeff Mayo, someone who was, he kind of played a very similar role for this Oregon offense in like the Darren Thomas, Jeremiah Masoli days. And this is kind of someone who kind of emulates that game. And I think we're going to see him used in the very similar manner. So, just kind of hearing that name and that comparison should get Oregon Duck fans pretty excited for, what Coop's able to bring to the table. And, we'd like to see him continue to develop his skill set before he gets on campus. And obviously, once he's able to make an impact with the Ducks roster.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Thanks for popping by. Like, subscribe as always. We're on that critical mission to 1,000 subscribers, and we're gonna keep pumping the content away. Thank you guys for hanging out with us, and we will see you later. I am Cody the Professor and Derek the Duck, and we are out.